Welcome to the Mass Transit Committee. I'm Doug Bowe, the chair of the committee, Mass Transit.
Cool,
We're going to do the airport first with John Donnelly, if you would come up, please. But first, we've got to approve the minutes of the meeting. Sorry, John. Okay, Bob Besson makes a motion to approve. Have a second? Second, Charlie. All in favor of the minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Okay, John, would you please take the chair?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to thank the Albany County and especially the Mass Transit Committee for inviting us out here to make the presentations before you, and we really enjoyed your great support. And this evening we have two items that we'd like to present and get your approval of. One is a purchase of land to relocate a cul-de-sac, and the other one is basically a cleanup project that occurred, the transaction occurred around 1994, 1995, before I got to the airport. Upon the creation of the authority, there was a land swap. Now, I'll start with that one since I'm already into it. There was a land swap between Kaiser Auto Body, and I don't know if anyone knows Kaiser out there off of Sickle Road, and the airport. And what they did is the Albany County transferred or swapped this parcel of land right here, 0.6 acres with Kaiser for another parcel of land, and it was mutual benefiting both parties. We had land, this is land of the airport that we acquired, and in exchange, we gave another equal parcel to Kaiser. And once again, this is before us. And the paperwork in the early days of the creation of the airport, our attorneys did not file the proper paperwork. So this is basically to reopen this case, so to speak, and just file the proper paperwork. And that's the first item. And if you need, I think we got significant backup in the book with proper resolutions that were previously passed, but we never finalized that paperwork. So we want to do that now, because when we were in that, and the reason why that got brought to light is because we were working on this cul-de-sac right here. Now this is an existing road. This is Sickle Road, as you come in Sickle Road, and we have an industrial park to the north, and to the south we have Commute Air. Now Commute Air is a maintenance base where they maintain CRG's, Canadian Regional Jets. They have 140 employees that do maintenance on these regional jets, mostly in the evening hours. And they're looking to expand their operation, because what they do is they bring in 4 to 6 to 8 regional jets, and these aren't the full-size jets, but they're quite sizable, and they park on the apron. So when they bring in additional aircraft to be maintained overnight, they do not have adequate parking. So we were always looking at this land, this is their hangars right here, this land right here, to build additional aircraft parking. So our planning staff, Steve, said, well, if we take this cul-de-sac away and relocate it down here, a little further west into the Sickle Road, we can create the cul-de-sac. Since we own the land, we own the land to the north, and we own all the land to the south, we could terminate the cul-de-sac here, and then we could acquire this land for additional parking for Commute Air and also for our industrial park. And then we could also take this land and make this aircraft parking. So we had Conti appraisal done, and they determined that this 0.72 acres is worth $90,000. So what we're doing is we took the acreage of this parcel right here, which is 0.85 acres, and this is airport land right here. The reason why the two colors is because we acquired it at 2 different times, but it is to create the cul-de-sac. So we took the 0.5 acres minus the 0.3 to recreate the cul-de-sac, and it nets out at 0.72 acres. And we have the Conti appraisal, which I think is in the book and it's available. And it comes out to $90,000. So what we're doing is we're asking the Mass Transit tonight to approve the transfer of land so we can acquire this land at full market value, and also to allow us to continue with the paperwork on this parcel here to clean up this transaction that was never finalized.
Questions?
Do you want to have Commissioner Raimondo come up and
speak on this as well. So she's number 2, she's number 2, this is number 3. They're all connected, but it's up to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Commissioner,
Yes. I'm sorry.
speaking on number 2, the authorization amendment to the lease agreement with the airport,
Well,
because they're connected. That's why we're bringing it.
yes, I'm sorry. Well, I thought that John was going to be speaking to that.
Oh, I did.
He did.
I
Yeah.
went through the whole thing and explained the two transactions of the,
Okay.
of the transfer of property, the swap with Kaiser. I went through, explained, they're looking for
No.
your.
Oh, for my
concurrence.
input. Okay, yes. So I've been dealing, I'm sorry, I was listening to it, but I was answering email as well. So I've
Anything
been.
to add?
Yes, I'd like to say that from a DPW's perspective, it seemed like a good opportunity. It's kind of a win-win because we no longer have to plow and maintain the extra length of Sicker Road, and we're going to be afforded the ability to have a turnaround in place of what we're giving up. So,
Trust it, turn around.
yeah, so to us, it seemed like a very good idea.
Okay. Any comments from the committee? Yes,
I'd like to
Joe.
make a motion, we accept it.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. Bob Besson. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it's unanimous.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, 2 and 3.
I think they only acted on 2.
No, they combined them.
See, I
Yeah,
see.
they combined them.
Just do 2.
Oh, thank you. Sorry about that.
I'm gonna wait to hear that.
Thank you.
We just did.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. I like the solar.
You're just gonna make it up.
Long-term partners make it solar. Could I have the executive staff come up, Dave? Come on up.
Sean, you're just number 3 if there's any other questions on it.
Yeah.
We just discussed it.
Right. Number 3, authorize an amendment to the lease agreement with the Albany County Airport Authority regarding property located at 80 Sicker Road.
That was 2 we just did, I guess.
And this is what was just discussed.
Sorry.
This is for
Yeah.
I mean, it was all just discussed, but obviously.
Is there any other things you would like added? I think it's pretty cut and dry. It's,
Make a motion.
We have a motion on the floor, second Bob. Any discussion on the motion?
Right.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay?
We haven't done it yet, I don't think.
It's unanimous again.
I was gonna say, we haven't tabled it.
And thank you.
thank you.
Sean.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. And number 1, by the way, is tabled. Sorry we skipped around, but we had to do it like that at the request of the sponsor. Okay, CDTA is next. Come on up, Carmen. Thank you.
Where do you want me, Commander?
Oh, anywhere you want, yeah, the hot seat. I'll sit over here.
Yeah,
Sit down with us.
I'd like to be one of you.
Okay.
Well, that's
all
what I
right.
know.
You don't like
I'll be
hot seats.
I'll be with Brian. Well, thanks, everybody. It's great to be with friends from the Albany County Legislature. Many of us know each other. Many of us have known each other for a long, long time. I was going to bring a PowerPoint. I realized that's just not my style. It's not your style. So what I have is for you is a couple of slides that talk about what is going on at CDTA right now, the big projects. You may have read that we're dipping our toe in electric technology. By the middle of the summer, we'll have 4 electrically powered buses that will pilot. Frankly, the technology is very mature. We're not afraid of the technology. Here's what we're afraid of. For as mature as the technology is, the issue is range, just like electric cars. Range is one thing in July, another thing in the middle of February. The HVAC systems are the major draw, and range can be as little as 90 miles on a charge to as much as 160 miles on a charge. So we need to get that straight before we make the plunge into saying anything that resembles the whole fleet or a major part of the fleet will be electric. But we'll have those 4 buses here in July. We'll test them for 6 or 7 months, make sure we know what it is we're talking about. Because we have to know what it is we're talking about. They're $900,000 a unit. Not 90, $900,000 for one unit. Now, as the technology matures, we hope that that price will come down, but right now, the delta, the difference between a diesel bus is it's double. Diesel bus is 450, an electric bus is 900. So we need to be careful before we invest in the technology. So that's why it's a pilot. It's a picture of what it might look like. Our graphics people tell me that that's what it's going to look like, so it'll be something close. You may have heard, this doesn't have a whole lot to do with Albany County, but you may have heard that Montgomery County, to the west, has asked us to provide service. They want to join the service district. That requires an act of their county legislature. We haven't gotten that far yet, but we have developed a service plan, we've developed cost estimates, and we're actively working with elected officials, state and county elected officials on that. So we may become a 5-county service area. Right now, it's Albany, Rensselaer, Saratoga, Schenectady. This would be the 5th county. I think it's great. The city of Amsterdam especially is without transit service. They have municipally run service that they just couldn't afford to operate it any longer. So the people who live and work there have no other option unless they own a car. If you're familiar with Amsterdam, it's a community that is on the rise, is coming back, but probably, I think they would admit, has a long way to go. So it shows you the disparity. Here in Albany County, you have healthy mobility options. Just 40 miles to the west, they don't enjoy that same level of service. So we're working with Montgomery County right now. You may have heard that our second bus rapid transit line between Albany and Troy, we received our federal grant, federal approval, a $27 million grant was approved by the federal government last week. It's a competitive grant, only 5 grants were awarded nationwide. It took 3 years to happen, and 3 years to work with the federal government. Some of our staff is frustrated. I'm not frustrated at all. I think if you're receiving a grant for $27 million, you should earn it. So we had to prove that our project was good, that our project was right, and that our project would be beneficial to the citizens of Albany County, Rensselaer County, and then beyond. So I think the grant is indicative of that work. If all goes well, buses will be operational on that corridor in late 2020, which, a couple of years ago I would have thought was a lifetime, but late 2020 is about 1.5 years from now. Bikes, if you have any, yeah.
The BRT, I was just especially excited about it just because it affects my district
Right through, yeah,
directly.
right through.
I mean,
Yep.
and considering the current state, Broadway, some of the Manans area,
Oh, yeah.
having more traffic counts there, et cetera, will do nothing but bring, positive things. So thank you
Yep.
very much.
Well, thank you, and your office has been a big supporter.
Of course.
Route 5 is the first BRT line between here in Schenectady, and ridership is increased and sustained 25% when we started it several years ago. We expect the same level of increase along Route 32. For those of you unfamiliar, it will start in downtown Albany, probably in the south end. It'll come through the south end into downtown Albany, north on Route 32, so through North Albany, through Manans, through Watervliet, over the bridge to Troy, up to Lansingburg, and then it has a little arm into Cohoes, and then eventually, we could run all the way into Saratoga County, into Waterford.
Wow.
That's kind of a long corridor. I don't know if everything will happen, every piece of that will happen, but we know from Albany to Troy is definitely going to happen. And basically improves service quality, improves frequency. Frequency goes from a bus every 20 minutes to a bus every 12 minutes. So essentially, you don't really need a schedule when you're at 10 or 12
What's that
minutes.
little piece of Cahoes you're talking about?
Right into Cohoes.
Oh, the whole city.
Right through the city. Actually, we've
Hickory
already,
Hill too?
Not to the Hill,
Just the city.
just the city. And you may have noticed, over the last year or so, a lot of sidewalk reconstruction, we paid for all that.
We took care of the sidewalk.
We took care of all the sidewalks wherever there's gonna be a station. You would have noticed it through Watervliet and Manans, a lot of infrastructure work. You know, the project's $42 million, and people wanna know, what are you spending $42 million on? The majority of that money is infrastructure, roadway improvements, and then buses. So you'll see the big stations, the red and silver station, like the one out front, those will be popped up all along the corridor, and there'll be one or two in Cohoes. All in all, about 25 stations.
On the electric to the diesel, what's the savings? Take the route from Manans to Waterloo per day, what would it?
Well, it's supposed to double the fuel economy. So right now, our fuel economy, you know, honestly, we're about 4 miles to the gallon. It's supposed to push it to 7 or 8 miles to the gallon. Well, it's not miles to the gallon anymore.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, we're learning a lot. We're learning a lot about energy consumption, energy draw. Right now, you know where we are on 110 Watervliet Avenue, at the, the bottom of the hill there. Honestly, our friends at Grid, they're working closely with us, but they're afraid of our power draw. So we may eventually end up constructing our own substation there. If we construct the substation, that's good for all the neighbors. We would share in all that. So most of what we do, most of the money that we spend goes on behind the scenes, but somehow, some way, we're trying to help the community at the same time. Bikes. I think you've seen, the bike stations all over, lots of bikes. People think it's CDPHP's program, and it is. We basically sold the naming rights, just like you did with the Times Union Center. We did the same thing. We own it, we operate it, but it says CDPHP Cycle, and it fits into. It really fits into their brand. It fits into the healthy lifestyle and things like that. And it's been a wild success. I've been doing this for more years than I care to say. Without doubt, it is the most successful new program introduction I've seen in my career. 350 bikes. When it gets going and the weather's nice, you won't find a bike in the station.
Come here today, they're up and down.
Yeah, they're up and down. And they're all over. They're here, they're in Saratoga, they're in Troy. We have a program with the City of Cohoes. We're going to announce that later this week. You'll have at least one, maybe two stations in City of Cohoes. We're expanding onto college campuses. UAlbany, RPI have signed on with us. Actually, UAlbany had their own bike share program. They no longer will have a bike share program. They'll use ours as their bike share program. And we build it into our contractual relationship that we have with them. State support. Thanks to our elected officials in the Assembly and the Senate, we received an increase in state operating assistance this year. And frankly, I think it's because all of you and our state elected officials appreciate what we do, and you're advocates for what we do, and that's what we appreciate more than anything. So thanks to our state officials. And then what's the future? The future is more BRT. The future is more electric propulsion. The future is most likely more expansion into different counties. There may be interest to the north of us. We need to put more buses on strong routes, the westerns, the Washingtons, the centrals, just here in Albany County. We have more demand than we have capacity, believe it or not. There are certain times of the day you still can't get on those buses, so we need more buses. We're experimenting with something called microtransit. It's a company that's a division of Ford Motor Company. That is a cross between Uber, ride-sharing, and what we do. So what we're doing is experimenting. I can't tell you where the first model is going to be, but I can tell you it's most likely in Albany County, where you will be able to literally call for a bus on your mobile device, and the bus will get you at your front door, and it will take you within a zone, take you to your destination. It's a pilot. We have to see if it works. We have grant money to do it, and Ford has invested $50 million in this concept. So I think you can sell your car, exactly. It's a way to look at things. We need to provide different choices for people. Standard bus service works. but it doesn't work for everybody. That's why we moved into bikes, that's why we've moved into BRT, that's why we're looking at this new technology. We're putting a $25 million upgrade into our technology program right now, because customers are saying that we want more, need more information. It's gotta be real time, it's gotta be on my phone. I wanna be able to, you can pay now with your phone, you can pay now with a smart card. We have to keep pace. So we're doing that. And then last but not least, don't forget about autonomous vehicles. I don't think it's going to be long before you see CDTA operating some sort of autonomous vehicle. A vehicle that doesn't have a driver and maybe has, you know, a zone that it will pick up on. It's being done in different parts of the country, believe it or not. And it's only a matter of time before it happens. I'm not sure I would get on. It'll probably be after I retire. But in 5 or 7 minutes, that's what's going on.
Well, thank you, Carol. We have other items to bring up on the agenda, but there's nothing on the agenda resolution that we have to vote on. But there are a couple of things that are very important that the legislature has taken up, and I want to bring them up now. If anybody else wants to chime in, please do. One is the bus service to the Albany County Jail. I know you've been working on this. We're anxious to see a stop right at the jail.
Yep.
Could you
Consider it
explain it
done.
for us?
Where's Tim? Tim's been working with us. I don't think we have a start date yet, but it's going to happen. It's going to be right to the front door. The bus actually goes by the jail. It probably is several hundred yards from the jail, but we'll operate.
0.8 of a mile from the.
Yeah, we're going to go right in, and it'll be front door service from downtown Albany.
From downtown?
Yeah, that's the one. I'll get you information. I don't want to.
Downtown. That's good.
I don't want to misspeak. I'll give you the exact route.
We have it. Is it something new? Is it something different than what we have?
I don't know what you have. So
It's a transfer.
It's the transfer.
I got a transfer.
Route 155,
yeah,
and I believe it's 170.
117. Yes.
To my understanding, that is the common stop.
Hey, you got to get up there, right?
I'm sorry. The common stop is at Cross Streets and Colony Center, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me get you information on what we're proposing. But we're proposing to bring those buses right to the front door.
I would appreciate that, Carol, if you got them that information.
Yeah.
Go
Yes.
ahead, Lonnie.
Okay, so suppose that we have the proposed information, and based upon what you have, it takes an hour and a half to get from downtown to the jail. Okay? Because you have to make it to Crossgates, which is where it initiates from, which I don't understand why that whole process should start at Crossgates. Nobody lives at Crossgates, okay? And then it goes to Colony Shopping Center, Hope Road, excuse me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I have to find out exactly what it is we're proposing. I thought it was service from Albany. If I'm wrong, I'll back up. But, you know, here's the problem. We'd love to make every service request happen, but, you know, I've been at CDTA a long time. We used to run front door service to the jail, very sporadic ridership, sporadic. One or two here, sometimes none, one or two there.
And it could have been because the route started at Crossgates.
No, back in the day, it came right from Albany, right from downtown Albany.
But everything.
Right up Central Avenue.
Anything can come from downtown Albany. If you live in the south end, you have to catch 3 buses to go to the jail.
Not a problem.
And it
You
takes-
tell us where you want it from then.
Oh.
But if we're gonna start a new route, someone's gotta figure out how to pay for that, that's all.
Well, Albany
Meet us in the
County-
middle.
Albany County is paying now, so I'm sure we can find some money to continue to pay, but the people the only thing we're really trying to do is this, okay, for all of the families that are affected by, you know, their parents or family members who are incarcerated at the jail.
Understand.
You can almost go to New York City and back by the time you go to the jail and back home. And that makes no sense.
I agree.
Okay? So we just, you know, we would like to just make it easier. Okay?
When I get back tonight, I will check and I'll work with Tim and we'll get back to you exactly what it is. Maybe some misunderstanding.
Is that survey just from Albany to, what about the rest of the county?
to the jail? I'd entertain it, but they're just not.
No, I'm just asking,
It's not
first I heard
correct.
this whole thing.
It's not practical.
Right now,
There's
no-
two routes, one from Cross Gates, basically cross town, and then one, a spine.
Nothing
here.
from the northern part of the county?
No,
Never has been?
not my recollection. It doesn't mean it shouldn't happen.
The old days, they used to have their own bus.
Yeah, but I didn't realize what they're doing here, maybe they should do it through the whole county.
Well, there's a lot of other ways that we should be talking about skinning the cat.
Yeah,
There's a lot of other ways to skin the cat.
because there's families all over the county.
Because it is spread out.
Yes, may I just ask you one more thing, I promise I won't take up any more time. When you talk about the different ways, I saw this presentation at the Bull Moose Club,
Yep.
okay? And so, one of the other issues that people are bringing up, it's just like, you know, they put the island in the middle of Central Avenue in order for people to cross the street, okay? The bus no longer goes into Colony Shopping Center.
Yep.
All right? Well, I have people who complain about the bus not going back to BJ's. And so for people who are shoppers, real shoppers, who have to carry groceries, okay? The ability to be able to shop economically for their families. They complain about not being able to access places such as that, okay?
And they complain to us too.
Okay, at the same time, I was just listening to your presentation about how people can just dial and go right to the door. So, for those people who live in the urban areas, okay, who really do count on public transportation, more than the person who has a vehicle, which you are now trying to, you know, offer more services for them than the people who actually don't drive or have access to.
60% of our people have vehicles.
Okay, the people who actually need the transportation are the ones who don't have transportation. And they just want, I'm just bringing this up to you so that you know that you have a large group of people who need better access to places such as the, you know, being able to go and shop for food, clothing, whatever. I just wanted to bring that
Yeah,
up.
appreciate it.
And a related issue with the Colony Mall and that bus stopping on Central Avenue and people having to walk through the parking
Yep.
lot. We'd like to see some, you know, there's a vacant Sears there, at least the bus could drop people off right at the mall there and had no problem because you got a huge parking lot. Is there any chance we can get a bus to go in there?
Hey, we talk to the property owners again, you know.
Who's the new
every-
property owner?
I don't even know, it's changed hands so many times. You know, everyone thinks that we left Colony Center. The
That's
truth
the
of the,
impression we got.
the truth of the matter, this goes back many years now, the truth of the matter was when Colony Center was renovated or reconstructed, and we're probably talking more than 10 years ago, probably closer to 15, the parking lot was completely redesigned, and we were asked to vacate. So we moved everything out to Central Avenue and Wolf Road, just as you see it today. And then the parking lot was reconstructed, save the Sears side. But the Wolf Road side, completely reconstructed. Honestly, even if they told us we could go back in there today on the Wolf Road side, I'm not sure our safety department would want us going in and out of that parking lot. It is not designed, frankly, it's hard enough if you have a car. So, you know, I need to dispel the rumor that we left Colony Center. That did not happen. You know, we were asked to leave the premises because of the redesign. And we were asked to construct transit centers outside of Colony Center. Now, I think the only viable option, if the property owner allows us, because it's not our property, would be the Sears side,
Oh,
Central Avenue.
I know that that's what they did.
That would be the only
You know,
option now.
a lot of us do know
Yeah, those of you who've been here, you know, more than 10 years know
that, you know, the
We didn't- we
TDTA
didn't
didn't have
vacate.
anything to do with that.
But I think it's only Sears that would be a viable option. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's why I mentioned
We'll,
it. It's really-
I'll talk to Town of Colony and work it in that way.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I mean, it's really important. People don't want to walk through
I
that
understand.
parking lot from Central
I understand.
Avenue. It's dangerous. And there's room. I mean, Sears is gone.
Yeah, but I have no idea what their plans are,
Okay.
and that's gonna be the issue.
There was one other issue with the Crossgates Mall, and that becoming a hub, and that becoming a purple line.
Yes.
Can you explain that for us, please?
That's the third BRT line, and that is still in the planning stages, and it basically is the red line that you have out front, the blue line that you have going to Troy. You'll have a purple line going from downtown Albany, out Washington Avenue, through the Harriman campus, a busway, bus-only way, through U Albany, and then eventually to Crossgates, and then back. Not real complicated. That is our single highest volume bus stop in the whole system now, Crossgates Mall.
Crossgates?
It surpasses Larkin, Washington. So we're going to connect Crossgates, U Albany, the Harriman campus, and downtown Albany. That whole corridor.
So Crossgates is actually a hub.
It's a hub now.
Yeah, and you know, they've got a plan from the builders, I guess, on a
Transit-oriented development.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What does that mean to see?
That just means, well, frankly, in layman's terms, it means they're supportive of what we do, and that development occurs around the hub. So I think that plays into what they're doing there. You got a mall, you got a hotel. As I understand it, there's housing planned on the west side of the mall.
Okay.
But honestly, we're probably 5 years from doing that.
And the other thing is, you mentioned Western Avenue, you mentioned Washington Avenue, access would be via Washington Avenue into that house, or what's the?
Western, mainly. It would cut over Western. It would come out of the campus via Fuller to Western, and then it's easier than coming into Washington Avenue side for us.
Any other questions? Okay, Karen, you did an excellent presentation. Anybody else?
Thanks, everybody.
Okay?
Thank you, Tom. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. Quick comment on the agenda from Granicus.
Yep, so as you all know, we're progressing with the implementation of going digital with all these agendas. This month, we're going to have all the committee agendas, drafts of what they look like. They're in front of you on the table there if you want to take a look at them. They're just drafts right now, we're not publishing them, but we wanted to give you all a copy of it so you can take a look at what they're going to look like.
Thank you. Okay, can I get a motion?
Got it.
Second? All in favor, leave.